It's crazy. The information is in there. I just can't get to it right now. Her tail was very cool. The fire, I totally know what this is called. If that seems unnecessary, well, that is an accomplishment. Hi guys, welcome back to another Rants video. Yeah, still on my phone. I mentioned in the description of Wednesday's video, I threw a wrench in my own plans during the weekend and got myself overthinking about something and something else, and so I didn't end up getting the chance to really figure out my computer situation. So we're just gonna go with this again. It worked pretty well last weekend, so we're gonna keep it going just so I can keep content coming out while I figure this out. It sucks, but it'll be fine. We'll figure it out. Anyway, we're doing a movie and not a series, and so this should be shorter than my other videos. Hopefully. We're going to talk about a Netflix movie that came out, I think it was beginning of this year. Guys, it's so weird that March is almost over. It's crazy. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I told my brother about it and he said, oh yeah, I'd heard bad things about that. So apparently feelings on this are mixed, because I also found some good comments, reviews, whatever on it as well. So seems like feelings are mixed on this one. But that's everything, I think. So yeah, I didn't really see a whole lot of negative. It definitely has its moments, but overall, I very much enjoyed it, and it was a good movie. We're gonna talk about the Netflix movie Damsel, which, gosh, I'm blanking on the lead actress's name. I knew it like 2 days ago, and now I don't. So if you know that, feel free to comment, because my brain is just... The information is in there. I just can't get to it right now. I'll probably remember halfway through the video. Anyway, I really enjoyed this movie. It was very fun. It was just a very fun fantasy movie, and there were dragons involved, so of course I'm going to watch this. There are dragons involved. If you haven't noticed from previous videos where I talked about Brandon Mull's series Dragon Watch and Dragonheart movies, dragons are my favorite fantasy creatures. I know that's super bland and like super common, but dragons are awesome. And I love it, and I will go to my grave with the belief that snakes were dragons before the fall. Anyway, yes, Damsel is very fun. The effects are actually very well done. The dragon looked very cool. I loved her super long, limber tail, so she could just like take people out with it, and her tail was very cool. I loved how long it was. I will say the first scene we get where we see her full thing, because her neck's because she's got a super slim body, and then her neck is a little bit thicker maybe, so when you first see her, the proportions look a little bit weird. And it kind of looks like she's got this fleshy lion, like it looks like a lion's mane, but made of her own flesh. And so it makes her look a little bit doofy. But as we got more into it and got more scenes with it and different angles, it definitely looked better. And I think the dragon looked great. And the fire was very cool. It was very cool. So obviously dragon breathes fire, and everything it hits, it's just to display how hot it is. It hits things and they start melting, and so then there's like this liquid lava going on, we're just ahead of the flames. It's so cool. It's a very cool effect, and I kind of love it because it's this concentrated blast of very hot fire. Things are going to melt, and especially the more powerful the dragon, the hotter the flames. So yeah, of course when it breathes fire, things are going to melt. That makes sense. It's not just gonna light things on fire. So it's very cool to see that effect. And then we have a scene with dragon eggs hatching. And I love that it has like the mucusy, what do you call that? I totally know what this is called. It's not embryo. Embryo is this human fetus. Well, before it's a fetus. Anyway, no, embryo is something else. Anyway, all the fluid inside the egg that has all the nutrients and keeps it warm, whatever else. I love that that's included, and it's because a lot of dragon eggs that we like hatching dragons that we get is it just like pokes and then pops out of the shell and it's totally dry. I love that they included all of the fluids and stuff that would be in an egg, because they're not just gonna survive in this little shell. They need all the nutrients and they need to stay warm because they're reptiles and they need all of these things. And so having the fluids in the eggs, like, you know, chicken and other birds that actually have, it makes total sense. So I really like that that was included, even for that super short scene. Just effects wise, it looks great. Main character is Elodie. Elodie gets burned. The burns look very well done. They have this giant like tube up through the mountain because she's in this like mountain cavern system that is the lair of the dragon, and they have this little chute basically going straight up that is just lined with crystals, and it looks great. And she uses them the crystals to climb up the shaft and it's to try and escape. It's so good. It looks it's a very, very pretty movie. If anything else, it's just very visually pleasing. It's very good. The storyline is very interesting. The one thing, like, it seemed very unnecessary. At the beginning, they say, oh yeah, you've heard tales of how the prince or whatever saves the damsel in distress. This is not one of those stories. And like, that seems unnecessary. I don't care if it's not like other fairy tale story. I really don't give a crap. So the line seemed unnecessary, and it was a little bit of a clunky line anyway. Like, I especially, like, the rest of the movie is written pretty well, dialogue wise. That line right in the opening where they're just like, this isn't like other fairy tales, like the Prince Charming doesn't save the damsel in distress, and like, that's cheesy. That's cheesy and seems to be like pushing, maybe you're trying to, it makes it seem like you're pushing feminist things. Like, cool, yes, strong female character, which she is a well-done strong female character. But that one line just makes like, now you're just pushing it. Now you're just being blatantly clear. It's like, don't worry, this is a feminist movie. I'm just like, just take that line out. It's unnecessary and clunky. Just start right into the story, because it's the only time that she narrates. There's not like any little epilogue thing where she talks at the end or whatever. And so it kind of seems out of place anyway. Upside, I kind of forgot about it happening. I remembered it happened, but I totally spaced out while I was watching the movie. I was into the movie, and so it was just like, oh yeah, that did happen. But whatever. The rest of the movie, I'm into the rest of the movie. So yeah. That was probably the biggest writing thing where I immediately went, no, get rid of it. Otherwise, the writing was pretty good. The acting was great. They all did good. There were one or two names I recognized, but otherwise, a lot of the actors I hadn't really seen in anything, which is also very refreshing. When you watch a movie and it's not like the same 10 actors that you've seen in like every other movie that's come out recently. So that was great. I also really, really appreciate the relationship between Elodie and her fiance, because the whole thing is Elodie's kingdom is essentially dying of starvation. Like, the resources are spent and it's the middle of winter, and it's like, we might not survive because we're freezing and we don't have money to buy resources, to buy food, all of that. And so her father makes a deal with another kingdom you know, marriage, they get money, and whatever. So they travel to the other kingdom and she meets her, you know, betrothed. And I appreciate that they kind of lean into their relationship a little bit and we get to see them, you know, interact. Like, no, it really wasn't rushed. You could maybe say, oh, it was rushed, like she fell for him really fast, but it felt very natural, actually. They go off on their walk because it's like, oh yeah, you two need to get to know each other. You're going to be married, so you need to like know something about each other. And they start realizing, oh, we got some things in common. I'm not who you thought I was, because like my little sister and my mom were kind of like manipulating this letter that I sent you of introduction. And yeah, so it's, I mean, yes, she very quickly goes, oh, okay, I like you, I can do this. But also, she was resigned to her fate. Like, whether she liked the guy or not, she was going to marry him. And it does seem to develop, like, a little quickly, but it does develop pretty naturally as they find things that they have in common and realize we both want to, like, travel the world and see things beyond our kingdom. And so, yeah, I think it was a very natural development of them going, okay, we can like each other, we can do this, we can, you know, live our lives together. So they actually kind of made me care about the relationship, even though I spoiled it for myself and I knew it wasn't going to end well. Yeah, there was a YouTube video, like, I would listen to instrumental music, and there was a thing on my channel, on the channel that I am subscribed to, that had like most beautiful shots from Damsel. And at this point I was iffy about watching it, and so I watched that and was like, okay, that solidified the fact that I wanted to watch it, because I got to see more like, oh, the dragon, there's a dragon, it's cool, that's great, because I like knew it was a thing but I'd never seen the trailer, so I like didn't really know anything about it. Anyway, so that solidified what that I wanted to watch it, but it also kind of spoiled things that happened. So I knew the relationship was not gonna end well, but I still kind of cared about it. It was still a cute relationship, so that is an accomplishment. That is an accomplishment, that they managed to make me care about the relationship, even though I knew it was not going anywhere. Because twist, the reason that they offered to, you know, offered the whole marriage deal is because they have a dragon living in a mountain just outside their kingdom. In order to appease this dragon, who they angered hundreds of years ago, they need to sacrifice 3 daughters of royal blood. This was another interesting thing. So they get married, they go up and have like this little ceremony or whatever, where they slice the girl's hand open, slice the son's hand open, and then put them together so that their blood mixes. And because their blood mixes, the scent of royal blood is now in. I mean, it's a little cheesy, and I don't know if it would actually work this way, but their blood mixes, and so then the scent of royal blood is in the girl, whoever the girl is that they marry. And then they do this on top of the mountain. It's like, all the ceremony, all the pomp and circumstance, whatever. And then they chuck Elodie into a pit to feed her to the dragons, to appease the dragon. Because I'm spoiling it now, just a fair warning, if you haven't watched it, go check it out if you're at all interested. It's a fun fantasy dragon movie. But anyway, they chuck her into the pit, and I was going somewhere with this. Dang it! That's where I was going with this. Okay. The reason they have to do this is because they went to, you know, drive out the dragons, because they feared the dragons, you know, just like 100 or so years, a couple centuries ago. They found the dragons young as they were hatching, the whole cool hatching, the you can see whatever scene. And the king has his men kill it. And then the dragon comes, attacks, kills everyone except the king, and says, "Death is too good for you. You must feel my pain. Sacrifice your 3 daughters to me." And then that is then a standing thing for every generation of royals. They sacrifice 3 daughters to this dragon in order to appease her so she doesn't wipe out the entire kingdom. Elodie happens to be one of those people, so she goes down. The dragon then smells the royal blood on her because they did the thing. And so the entirety of the movie happens in this mountain. Besides 10 minutes at the beginning and about 5 minutes at the end. Everything happens in this mountain, which is fun that it's the same setting, and yet it's very interesting. So she's running around this mountain trying to escape a dragon. And because of how her kingdom is and how rough they have it and all the work, like she has to work and cut wood and whatever else to help support their kingdom, she's not like this helpless princess. So she manages to survive, and she's, pretty resourceful, and she uses like Healy glowworm things as a lantern, which is fun. they're glowworm, silkworm things, but they have like healing goop essentially that they excrete, and so they heal wounds. Quote plat thing. I'm not questioning it because there's also dragons. So if anyone's gonna be like, okay, that's stupid and they do it for plot convenience, shut up. There is a dragon in this movie. There can totally be magic healing glowworms. Anyway, magic healing glowworms. That's fun. I think the biggest, and then her escaping and then realizing the truth about the king, centuries ago killing the dragon's young, has a whole fight for like dominance with this dragon. Gets her to the point where it's like, okay, just kill me. And so she's on the ground. She could totally kill this dragon. The dragon goes, and she explains to the dragon, I'm not actually of their royal bloodline. They just tricked you with this ceremony, like mixing our blood and whatever else to make you think that. And she says, okay, if I've been killing innocent girls, end it. Just kill me. And she goes, no, I'm done doing what I'm told. Heals the dragon, and then they go and take vengeance on the kingdom. And kill everyone in the castle, pretty much. They come in the middle of this 3rd wedding, because the prince like marries 3 girls and then chucks them in the pit. Cool. So wrong. In the middle of his 3rd wedding, she's like, okay, bride, take family, run away. Standing there, anybody who this is your last chance. Anybody who wants to live, bye-bye. And the dragon shows up and burns everyone else, and it's great. And there's some cool shots with like the dragon shadow going over her as she walks along the bridge, and it's fun. But anyway, I think my biggest issue with it is they have like flashback moments to explain kind of what happens, because you get like the one-sided version of the story at the beginning as the introduction, and then get into it, and then as she discovers the truth, we get to see more of it. But there are these flashbacks that happen, and it kind of presents it in a way like she's basically seeing it. So she finds the dead young, and then we have the flashback, and it shows everything that happens, and then she kind of which it makes more sense in that situation. It's not the best example because there's like 2 or 3 moments where this happens, but anyway. And then she kind of immediately knows what happened, and it she could totally piece it out in that situation, so I'm not super mad about that one. Sorry. I'm not quite 100% yet. Anyway. So that one was okay. She's a smart girl. She could have figured that one out. But there's also a moment they have where she finds this little safe place in the caves where a bunch of the girls before her have hidden. And so they carved their names in the walls. One of them carved a map of the caverns, and all that fun stuff. And then there's a moment where she's basically seeing all of them at once doing their thing. And that was a little bit of a strange scene. Yes, cool, kind of represent, all of these girls, but you also had the scene where she finds the wall with all their names on it, and that kind of gets the same point across. So showing all of them was a little bit strange. And then there's a moment, I think it's kind of a dream sequence, where one of the earlier princesses, whatever, literally tells her in a dream it's a lie, and kind of then implies the rest of the story. I think this is before she saw the young, and so like, you don't actually know about this yet. Dreams are subconscious things, like you don't you shouldn't be able to, like, I don't know. So that part was a little bit strange, but otherwise the rest of it was good, and it worked, and it was cohesive, and how she stops the dragon is pretty clever. It's fun, and it's sad, and so many people die. Like, her dad comes to rescue her after realizing, I'm an idiot, I can't do this, and dies. And I thought she was gonna lose her sister and her stepmom too, but she didn't. Which I guess, yay for her, she doesn't literally lose everyone. But yeah. And then the ending, I feel like there's, I don't know. Again, like right at the end, if she's talking with her mom and her sister about what they're going to do with their kingdom, that is a little bit of a clunky little piece too. It's like everything between like the first line and the last line written pretty well. It's great. And then just that first little narrator line, and then the last little talking to her parent and her stepmom and her sister about stuff is a little bit funky. To the point where I don't actually know what their plan is going back. I just know that the dragon is going with them. I could probably watch it again and maybe understand what they were talking about, but it was just written a little bit kind of clunky, and so I didn't exactly understand what they were trying to say. Things are happening though. They're going back to their kingdom of the dragon. But yeah, overall I enjoyed this movie. It was a fun fantasy movie. My gosh. Should have brought some water down with me. Anyway, yeah, fun fantasy movie. The effects were good. Visually it was very well done. And besides the clunkiness of the first and last lines, it was written pretty well, and the acting was good, and the storyline was kind of fun and interesting. So yeah. I mean, not the greatest movie in the world. It definitely had its moments where I was like, ooh, cringe, or that doesn't quite make sense. But overall, it was very fun, and I enjoyed it. So those are my thoughts on Damsel. If you have any, feel free to drop them in the comments. Liked it, disliked it, I don't know. Any requests, suggestions, whatever, you can drop those down there too. I post videos on this channel every Wednesday and Saturday, and I post videos on my audiobook channel on Thursdays. I'll see you all next time.